Hello everyone, welcome to the Captain's Video Blog. We are Thursday, October 13th, 2016, and oh boy, what is that lighting? Not much better, but still. So it's raining pretty heavily, putting the department of Aero now in red alert, while here we're still in orange alert. And I mean, you know, usually it's kind of how it goes. Red alert is always going a little bit, you know, crazy, but then again, it's raining a lot here, and we're only in orange, so I don't want really to know what's happening in Montpellier and in the region, because you know, here, you know, it's because of the fun effect, where you have, well, the clouds, they come from the sea, and the air, you know, you get the hot air climbs the hills and the mountains, of which there's a lot in, you know, in the aero and car departments, but not a lot here because, well, there are, you know, higher mountains here than in both aero and gar. We also have this huge corridor of plain that goes from the Mediterranean all the way through the Lower Gay and Toulouse, and then to the Aquitaine. So yeah, not the optimal conditions for the big storms. So if we get on red alert here, means that either we're into some deep shit, like probably at the level of a small tropical depression, and this is not the smile of somebody who's really hoping that this happens, because holy shit, I just don't want this to happen, or you know, it has deviated a bit to the south. So yeah, unless that happens, well, here it's going to be orange, but doesn't mean that there's not going to be any damage. We've seen already images from, I think, Port La Nouvelle, where I think it's Port La Nouvelle. It could be, yeah, it's Port La Nouvelle, because there's a casino really close to the seafront. Really, you know, there's a long pier going to a lighthouse, and the casino is right on the beach. So yeah, the casino and the parking of the beach are, well, they have a lot of water at their level, which means that you know, there's not only, well, the rain, but there's also the sea that's rising up. So not that surprising actually, but still, it means that, well, villages and cities that are on the lower part of the Aude Valley are going to be in some deep shit if it goes on. And apparently, you know, it was supposed to end, well, during the day actually, but now we're probably seeing that for, well, at least the beginning of the weekend. So yeah, I all that to say that, well, the university was probably closed because I didn't get an email, and I'm not getting an email tomorrow either, because the offices of the Montpellier town hall have decided that pretty much everything was going to be closed on Friday. So yeah, I mean, it's really on me, because it should have been done a week ago, and the day when I decide to, when I make the phone call, it's the one day where I knew that shit was going to happen, because we had talked with my parents the day before, and they had told me, yeah, there's going to be lots of rain. And I was like, man. So yeah. So before talking about NXT, let's talk a bit about TNA. So there's been two huge news today. The first one felt like, pretty good news. Matt Hardy, who is going to organize at the Hardy compound an episode of Impact called Total Non-Stop Deletion, which is going to be apparently non-canonical, um, as much as the canon of pro wrestling can be impacted, with a tag team Apocalypto match, which doesn't really mean anything. But Matt Hardy has invited teams from all over the world, including the Day of New and the Bucks of Youth, and to really say that, to really push the point forward that he's serious with that, he has proposed to appear on Mick Mahan's show if they accept to let the New Day appear at the Apocalypto tag team match, and same for Ring of Honor, if they accept to let the Young Bucks appear at the Apocalypto. It wouldn't be new, for WWE to have that kind of deal, because they already made that pretty much the same deal when for one night they let Christian go back to TNA, so that they could have Ric Flair appear to be inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame. I think it was with the Four Horsemen, but then again I could be wrong because he's been inducted twice. So yeah. But the other news came out a little bit later. We still don't have all the details. I'm not saying that as if I were some kind of insider journalist, but I'm reading that on in websites whose sources are insider journalists. Billy Corgan, who is the TNA president, has decided to sue TNA and Dixie Carter. Apparently, there's also been an injunction, restraining order filed. I don't have all the details, but that could put into jeopardy the plans of Matt Hardy and the whole future of TNA, actually. So yeah, we'll see about that. Anyway, so NXT, oh boy. Well, was it was mostly the three stories from last week, the same three stories, but with more content. So the Glorious 10, they disbanded pretty quickly. They entered and they had little moment, and then Ty Dillinger started being beaten up by Sawyer Fulton and Alexander Wolf, who are part of Sanity, and Bobby Roode, he was going to save his partner, but then he realized that he didn't really need him, so he let Ty Dillinger getting destroyed. Other members to be revealed. If you haven't read all the spoilers from the past few weeks, Nikki Cross and Eric Young are the other two members of Sanity, and they are advancing. So yeah, then Bobby Roode backstage was like, "Oh, he's a loser. It's because of him that we lost. I wasn't going to be. Didn't want to be in the Dusty Classic. He practically begged for me to be his partner. You're full of shit, Bobby." So yeah, then was a little bit of backstage with Peyton Royce and Billy Kay having a little laugh at Liv Morgan. Well, it could have gone very badly for them, but yeah, when it's basically 2-on-1, and even though Liv Morgan fought really well, there's starting to be a lot more quality as the weeks pass, and there's less clogging up the top of the card in the women's division. As the smoke begins to clear, It shows that actually the current women on NXT, even though they are far from being able to compete against Asuka, they can hold their own. You know, they're pretty much at the level of 2013, which is not bad. Just that say there's someone really over there, and they're basically there. So yeah, Billy Kay won with a big boot, which is always strange finisher, especially when you've seen women kick out of big boots before. So yeah, but let's give them the time to rebuild, and then we will pass maybe harsher criticisms onto the women of NXT. So far, they don't really deserve that kind of treatment. So yeah, then there was, I think, another match for the Dusty Classic, which was TM61 against Tino Sabatelli and Riddick Moss. Tino Sabatelli, you probably heard that name if you have followed Breaking Ground. He's the former NFL player who's played in various franchises and who always seemed to have a lot of pressure put into himself. And he is a pretty polarizing figure apparently, as some of it was pretty 50-50 the reception. Some liked him and some didn't, which is pretty great for someone who's only making his first appearance on NXT TV. So yeah, it looked as though TM61 had the match pretty fast, pretty early on, but then Tino Sabatelli helped equalizing the whole thing by lowering a rope and making I think it's Shane Thorne, yeah, the whip, the one with a berserk tattoo. So yeah, he made him go over the top rope, and it started to be way more balanced, which is not really good for TM61 because they are an experienced tag team, and they won, but still. So yeah, but at least it made Riddick Moss and Tony Sabatelli look like guys who can make it on NXT and maybe in the WWE. So all is not lost. Yeah. Then there was a match between Wesley Blake and Buddy Murphy. Didn't go to the end. It wasn't the best of matches because it was pretty obvious that it was a setup for Samoa Joe to attack, and he did. And he called out Regal, said the time was up. Bring me Nakamura, bring me a title. Nobody came. Commercial break. Commercial breaks on the network is always a bit strange. So yeah, then he repeated it, and Nakamura came. They fought, and security came, and there was Brian Williams in the security. You can fool me. I know that was him. So yeah, and they fought. All the security got dispatched, and it's pretty much it. Samoa Joe is a Kinshasa to close off the show. So yeah. Oh, great news! My phone now, the YouTube app, doesn't need me to reset the uploads when the phone crashes, so that's cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I've started restarted reading Mac and Key, which is, if you go past maybe the first 30 chapters, there's a lot of fan service, and it looks like the story is just there to make it so that there's something to say, something to warrant the fan service. But then again, now more and more, as I think we're approaching the final battle, I think it really looks like it. The current chapter, latest chapter translated is chapter 85, and it really looks like we're going towards the final battle with Yamato Takeru and Takeru Oyama. And I completely forgot that Usui was a clone of Yamato Takeru. Then again, I had forgotten a lot of stuff because between the release of maybe chapter 71 and chapter 72. There's been around a year and a half, so yeah, I cannot really be blamed for that. So yeah, now more and more the fan service is just there because it was there before. Some characters are heavily based on their ability to provide fan service, especially the Venus students. And Himegami, even though she's not really there anymore because she's still in Amanohara. So yeah, and the story is there now. It's really there, and it's really a cool story, and it's such a shame that it was so focused on fan service. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.